The punt. And they will down it at about the 11-yard line. They'll make it a 12, I think. And it looks like we might have had a difficulty. Every now and then the camera runs into a videotape that it does not like. So should that be the case, and this is the start of the broadcast, again, welcome to week number 10. It's the Pilots here at Hicksville. I'm Bill Murphy, Amy Murphy running the camera on a rainy Friday night. Pilots' first possession. Their quarterback tonight is Sam McGuire. He is a sophomore, 6'2". Their senior quarterback is Ethan Schlachter. Schlachter's the 6'7" guy who also spends time sometimes playing wide receiver. He's number 11, and he is on the field. But again, they're using his height tonight in the wide receiver position, and they've got the youngster Sam McGuire getting some much-needed experience. As again, this game, there's no GMC overtones in this game. Again, the Pilots would like to pick up a win here to improve their chances of possibly seeing postseason play. And again, for the Aces, it's all about the win here tonight to pretty much lock in that they will be hosting their first-round playoff game. They are definitely, the Aces definitely are playing in week number 11. And again, they locked up the GMC crown, the undisputed title. With that win over the Raiders last week. And the Aces would, I think, like to finish out 7-0 in the GMC. McGuire, quick handoff again. Not much there. So he'll take a bit of a loss, and that's going to bring up 4th and 5, and the ball resting at the Pilots' 19-yard line, so obviously the punting squad coming out. Tunis and Comiso dropping back for the Aces. Isaac Hinojosa, the kicker. High snap. Hinojosa. Nope, I take that back. I thought it was number 5, but I don't think it is. Ball's going to roll dead at the Aces' 48-yard line. And that was number 15, Devin Emmerling, and not number 5. So I stand corrected. So with the Pilots punt and 7:42 left in the first quarter, Aces back on offense. Greer hanging on to it himself. Greer straight ahead. He powers forward across the 50, across the 45, and is brought down at about the 44-yard line. There was no real doubt about that being a quarterback keeper. Greer got the snap, and he just took off. Lowered his shoulder pads and headed towards the other field goal, the other end zone, rather. 2nd and 3 now for Hicksville. And again, Greer keeping the ball himself, and he's going to probably be dropped for about a half-yard loss, back to about the 46-yard, about a 2-yard loss to the 46-yard line. So Greer loses about 1.5 yards on that carry. 3 wide receivers out on the near side towards us. Lateral over to Peyton Tunis. Tunis finds a nice hole. Tunis off to the races, down the sideline. Cuts back in towards the end zone, and he gets in. Touchdown, Hicksville. I don't see any flags on the field, so the score should stand. And that's the play that worked very well against the Raiders last week, and the Aces bring it back for an encore here in week number 10, and Peyton Tunis goes 46 yards into the end zone for the first score of the night, and the Aces go up 6-0. Victor Coates on the field, and Coates going to attempt the extra point. He's kicking at about 90% so far this season. Snap, down, kick, blocked. I jinxed him. High snap, and Tunis got it down as best he could. Cope put his leg into it, but one of the pilots was able to get close enough to get an arm on it. So the extra point attempt fails, and it remains 6-0 in favor of the Aces. The rain continues to fall. The forecast, according to the weather app that I have on my smartphone, saying that this rain is going to most likely be with us through the entirety of the football game. They're calling for the rain to start moving out of the area somewhere between 11 o'clock and midnight tonight, and I sure hope that we're done with the game by then. 6:39 left in the opening quarter, and again, the Aces draw first blood. They jump out to an early 6-0 lead. The Pilots come back out onto the field to get ready to receive the kickoff. They've obviously been paying attention to how well Victor Cote can kick, because their deep man's all the way back at the 5-yard line. That looks to be, I think, Emmerling all the way back there. And it's going to be Travian Tunis with a short hopper that's going to go off a Pilots player at about the 35-yard line. Scoot behind him. He dives on it and manages to get the ball back. And that puts the Pilots at their own 34-yard line. 1st and 10 to start this series. Sam McGuire, the sophomore quarterback wearing number 2, comes out into the huddle. And the Pilots going to set to work to see if they can draw even on the Aces on this possession. 6:37 to go again in the opening quarter. Dropping back. McGuire puts it into the air. He's got a man open. And almost caught. That's about as close as you can come, but he juggled it at the end. I think he was worried the Aces defender had fallen down, and he was trying not to step on him, or maybe his feet were tangled up a little bit. But trying to get position on that ball, and you could tell the ball was slippery. And again, it bobbles it around a little bit, and Emmerling just not able to haul it in. So 2nd and 10 on the incompletion. Two wide receivers out on the near side towards us. It's a handoff up the middle, out to about the 39-yard line. So a pickup of 5, make it 3rd and 5 here. Pilots up to the line of scrimmage, and McGuire is going to come up under center. Another quick handoff, and that'll be stopped again short of the first down stick. That's going to bring up 4th and about 2 for the Pilots at their own 42-yard line. So the Pilots at their own 42-yard line with a 4th and 2 are going to go for it. McGuire under center. McGuire handing it off, and the Aces were ready for that one. Nothing doing. He might have made it back to the line of scrimmage, and the Aces are going to take over on downs. So the Pilots make it out to the 42-yard line. That's where the Aces stop them and take over on downs. 5:04 left in this opening quarter. Greer with Aaron in the backfield with him. Two wide receivers out on either side of the line. And he gets them to jump. That'll be an encroachment on the Pilots. That'll give them 5 yards the easy way. So that'll move it down to the 37-yard line. 1st and 5 for the Aces. Greer hands it to Aaron, who pitches it back to Jake, and Jake tosses it and must have slipped out of his hands a little bit. It didn't have a good arc of flight. His intended receiver was Parker Thiel down at about the 10-yard line. But again, it looks like the ball might have slipped out of Jake's hand a little bit on this rainy night and lands well out of bounds and out of the reach of Thiel. Bad snap on the turf, and Greer has to eat it. So that's going to take that 3rd and 5. And that's going to make it 4th and third down. The 2nd and 5 will become a 3rd and 12. Actually looks like closer to 3rd and 13. So 3rd and very long for the Aces. Greer rolling out, looking downfield, putting it in the air. Good defense. Intended receiver was number 7, Landon Turnbull. Turnbull not able to get his hands on it. Good defense from the Pilots. That'll bring up 4th down, and most likely a Jake Greer punt coming up. But they're not going to show punt. Greer's going to have Aaron in the backfield with him, and he is going to just do a quick hitter punt. And they're going to roll it down, and it's going to take a nice Aces roll. It looked like it was going to trickle into the end zone, but right at about the 2 or 3 yard line, it turned about 90 degrees, a little J curve at the very end, and the Aces do a great job, a great kick from Greer, and they pin the Pilots back deep, all the way down to the 1 yard line. 1st and 10 Ayersville. Multiple whistles as they break huddle. And it looks like they have an issue with the chain being tangled up on the down marker. And so in order to be able to stretch the chains out to their full 10-yard length, that has to be taken care of. So both the offense and the defense on the field will get a little extra time to talk amongst themselves. As they are still down there working on it. Well, called enough games, you see a lot of things, and this is the first time a game's been stopped for this long because somebody's to untangle the chain on the down marker. All right, looks like they might have it. There they go. So they must have had it wrapped up pretty good or tangled up in a knot or something. But they finally get it taken care of, and we're ready to get back into action. Pilots with the ball again, 1st and 10 on their own 1 yard line. And handoff just up the middle, and good 1st down carry out to about the 9 yard line. So second down now and 4. As they put the ball on the 7, they're saying. All right, it looks like the 9-yard line to me, but second and 4. And nothing doing that time. So they're saying back to the 7-yard line, and that's about where it looks like it is right now. So third and 4 with 3 minutes and the clock rolling. McGuire up under center. Again, he can't afford any mistakes if he wants to drop back and pass. Another handoff up the middle, diving forward. And out to about the 13-yard line. That's going to be pretty close to first down yardage. And they're going to say he got it. So the Pilots get the first down, move the chains, get themselves a little breathing room, and they get the ball out to their own 13-yard line. McGuire. And again, handing it off to number 4, Lane Freilich. And the junior getting him a few yards out to about the 19. So Freilich gets him 5 more. Makes it 2nd and 5 for Ayersville. As we go under 2 minutes to play here in this rainy first quarter. McGuire tries to roll out, and the Aces are waiting for him. He's going to be dropped for a loss back at about the, looks like about the 17-yard line is where they're going to mark it. So McGuire looked like he was going to try to roll out and maybe throw the pass. And the Aces were waiting for him, and they take him down at the, looks to be about the 16-yard line. Make it third, and looks like third and about 7-8 yards. So the Pilots on a 3rd and long. McGuire throws off the hands of intended receiver Ethan Schlachter and incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down, and the punting unit back on the field once again for the Pilots. Hammerling, number 15, dropping back to punt. Gets his leg into it. Caught by Comiso. Comiso spinning around, looking for some blocking. Comiso across midfield. Comiso still on his feet. Cuts back towards the middle of the field. Comiso into a forest of Pilot defenders, and they finally bring him down at about the 15-yard line. Mason Comiso, though, what a great run. And flags on the field. I'm not sure if there are flags on the field. I saw a couple of players pick up white rags on the field. I guess there is one flag. Okay. A couple of the Pilots players, a lot of the Pilots players have like these little white washcloths that they use to keep their hands dry. And a couple of those had come loose and were laying on the field. And hidden amongst them was a flag. And that's going to be against the Aces. And that looks like it's going to be a chop block or... So a blindside or a chop block committed by the Aces. which helped Comiso scamper all the way down to the 15-yard line, moves them back 15. So Hicksville, 1st and 10 now back at their own 40-yard line. Greer hands off to Nate Arend. Arend gets down to the 45-yard line. Pilots coming close to getting the face mask when they brought Aaron down, but they managed to avoid that. So Nate picks up about 5, and it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Aces. As we're down to the last 10 seconds, we'll see if they get this play off or if they're going to let the clock expire. They will get the play off, and Greer's going to keep the ball himself, and Greer gets the first down and then slides down at the 48-yard line. And that'll be the end of the first quarter. So after 1 on this rainy Friday night, the Aces leading the Pilots 6-0 here at Aces Field. And we'll take a break and switch ends of the field and get ready to get the second quarter underway. And while we are doing all of that, we will take some time to say a huge thank you once again to our football broadcast underwriters here on Hicksville Community Television, the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships in Hicksville, Ohio. Once again, throughout the 2017 regular season, Jim Schmidt Chevrolet Buick and Jim Schmidt Ford have lent us their underwriting support and made it possible for us to cover all 10 of the Aces regular season football games here on Hicksville Community Television, both at home and on the road. We want to thank them so very much. We hope that you will do the same as well. Remember, whenever you see Aces Sports on Hicksville Community Television, it's the Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships in Hicksville, Ohio that have helped make that possible. We want to thank them once again so very much, and we also want to thank them in advance because they've already committed. They're going to be helping us bring you playoff football action as well. The Jim Schmidt family of automotive dealerships in Hicksville, Ohio. Jim Schmidt, Chevrolet Buick, Jim Schmidt Ford, and online at jimschmidtauto.com. Back in action, Aces have the ball. 1st and 10 on the Pilots' 49-yard line. Greer handing it off to Aaron, and Aaron dropped the ball. It's loose on the turf, and I think the Pilots got it. Number 62 for the Aces, it was in there too, Boston Hoopman, but I think it got away from him, and yep, they say the Pilots have recovered. So Aaron dropping the football after the handoff off of Greer. And they turn it over to the Pilots, and Ayersville will get the ball 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. Their best field position of the night tonight. 11:56 to go in quarter number 2. And that's the sort of thing you're going to see on a rainy night like that. A lot of those little ball handling mistakes you don't normally see. Those things happen when it's rainy, wet, and slick. Football can get very slippery. McGuire under center hands it off to his big man, number 21, who gets upended at about the 43-yard line. Nick Brown, the 6'2 senior, take the ball all the way down to the Aces' 42-yard line. And I'll make it the 43-yard line. 2nd and 3. Pilots will break huddle. 2 wide receivers going out on the far side for McGuire. McGuire, another handoff, and powering right up the middle is number 42, Lane Freilich. And Freilich will get him a first down as he bangs down to the 36-yard line. No, actually, they're going to mark him on the 35. So the Pilots keeping it on the ground and powering it down the field. Have another first down at the Aces' 35-yard line. Sam McGuire, the sophomore quarterback, hangs on to it himself. McGuire finds a little bit of a seam and gets out to the 31-yard line. Picks up 4, and that'll make it 2nd and 6. Parker Thiel looked like he got a little banged up on defense that time. Travian Tunis into the lineup to take over for him on this play. McGuire, another handoff up the middle and out to about the 25-yard line. Freilich gets close to a first down. Looks like he's going to be about a yard shy. It'll be 3rd and 1 for the Pilots. McGuire handing it off, and he's going to get stopped, but I think he's going to get first down yardage. Nick Brown got the carry, and Brown didn't get much, but he got him the yard that they needed down to the 24-yard line. 1st and 10 Pilots. So McGuire gets his team near the red zone. Another handoff to number 42, Lane Freilich, and Freilich down to about the 21-yard line. Pickup of about 3. 2nd and 7. As the Pilots are looking to take advantage of the recovered fumble and maybe see if they can even up the score. McGuire, another quick handoff. And down inside the 20-yard line. Freilich carries it down to about the 18. So the Aces giving up a few more yards, and the Pilots getting into the red zone. 3rd and 4 now for Ayersville. Need to get down to the 14-yard line to move the sticks. So 3rd and 4, and McGuire comes up under center. 2 wide receivers out on the far side, 2 backs behind him in the backfield. Hand off to big number 21, and they were waiting for him again. So Nick Brown with the carry, and Brown is stopped by the Aces well short of first down yardage. It might give him about a yard. That'll bring up 4th down and about 3 from the 17-yard line. Pilots going for it, no doubt about it being 4th down territory this close to the goal. And it'll be a quarterback force up the middle, and I don't know. This is going to depend on the spot. They're indicating the 15-yard line, which would be short. And they're going to bring out the chains to measure it. As you can see, the tail of the football resting right on the 15-yard line. So we'll see whether it'll be 1st and 10 for the Pilots or if they're going to be short. I think they're going to be a little bit short, and they are. So the Aces will take over on downs. The way the markers were placed on the far side of the field, it looked like they needed to get past the 14-yard line. So they're about a foot short. And so the Aces will take over 1st and 10, again with the nose of the football right on their 15-yard line. 7:19 to go here in our opening half. Aces with a 6-0 lead on this rainy night. Well, it looks like the rain has stopped for the time being. Again, it's in the forecast off and on for the balance of the evening. Greer takes the snap. Pass incomplete. Threw behind Comiso. Comiso tried to cut back towards the ball, but his feet slid out from underneath him. So that's incomplete, and 2nd and 10 for the Aces. Greer getting things set. Low snap. Jake gets his hands on it. Caught by Comiso this time out at the 20. Comiso across the 30-yard line. And he'll be wrapped up and taken down at about the 32. But that'll be good enough for a first down and get the Aces some breathing room here. 7:08. They'll stop the clock long enough to move the chains. And the Aces will get ready to get back in business here. Greer puts a man in motion and hands it off. Nope, I take that back. It was a good fake. I thought he gave it to Comiso, but Greer kept it himself, and Jake powers down to the 39-yard line. And the one Ayersville player, Devin Emmerling, number 15, losing his glove again. Makes it a little bit confusing when the gloves and the towels get lost on the field, and sometimes it's kind of hard to tell whether they're penalty flags or not. Greer hanging on to it himself again. Greer straight forward. Jake still on his feet. Jake breaking loose. Jake taking it all the way down to the 40-yard line of the Pilots. Greer looking like he just wanted to hang on to it long enough and go straight up the pipe to move the chains and get the first down. Got himself a nice hole, a good block, and he took off. And Greer all the way down to the 40-yard line for the Aces. They're going to actually make it 1st and 10 there again on the 40. Aaron, the back, beside Greer. Another low snap, and Aaron drops the ball again. And Aaron again fumbles, and again the Pilots recover. So Nate Aaron fumbles for the 2nd time tonight and turns the ball over. It'll be 1st and 10. Ayersville now at their own 40-yard line. Now, if you go by Hicksville High School next week and you see a big guy walking around carrying a football, it might be Nate Aaron. Slippery night tonight, and again, he's had a couple of, it was a low snap to Greer, so maybe the football was off kilter to begin with, but second fumble loss for the Aces tonight, which is not at all usual for them. And we're going to have a Pilots timeout. First timeout of the first half for Ayersville. And it comes as they're getting ready to start off this offensive series 1st and 10 on their own 40-yard line. I'm sure that a lot of this is just keeping the guys focused, and so the Pilots really want to.
Probably celebrating. They're almost
the Pilots really would like to come away with a win here tonight to, number one, spoil the undefeated season in the GMC for the Aces, and number two, the only chance that they have of being able to play in week number 11, the Ayersville Pilots, is to come away with a win tonight, because the Aces are worth an awful lot of computer points at this point. So only down 6-0, and I'm sure that they're talking a lot about that and doing whatever they have to do and maintaining possession of the ball. So far, the Pilots' running game has been fairly effective against the Aces' defense. So they've been able to move it down the field fairly well. McGuire again handing it off to number 21, Nick Brown. And Brown will pick him up about 4. So they're going to put the ball down at the 44-yard line. Again, that'll be 2nd and 6 now for the Pilots. And the clock continuing to roll which is, I guess, the one downside of their effective ground game is that the clock does not stop. And this time McGuire's going to hang on to it himself. A nice spin move. McGuire is going to get the first down. He's going to get taken down across the 50-yard line at the Aces 48. First and 10 for the Pilots. 5:22 left before halftime. They'll move the chains and start the clock up. Ayersville breaks huddle. McGuire up under center again. Two wide receivers out on the far side. And it looks like he is going to maybe try to pass it. McGuire running for his life now, nothing doing, and he's going to get taken down all the way back at the 45-yard line. The Aces with excellent coverage of the receivers down the field, and McGuire had nowhere to throw it, and he wound up running for his life. So between the wet turf, not being able to plant his feet, and again, not having a good open receiver, the Aces were able to dial in on him and drop him for a good loss. Let's see, the sophomore class selling Krispy Kremes. I have to run out at halftime, see if I can pick up a dozen donuts. Handoff, and nothing doing. Might have got to the 45, 46-yard line. Maybe a pickup of a yard. Make it 3rd and 16 for the Pilots. They need to get to the Aces' 38-yard line for a first down. 3rd and 16. McGuire under center. Dropping back, looking to throw. Puts the ball in the air. And again, they were thrown behind the receiver, and when the receiver turned around and tried to make his way back to the ball, his legs went out from underneath him again. So the slippery turf, because of all the rain, as the rain has resumed here. It had stopped for a little bit, but it's falling once again. And it's the field looks to be in good shape, but it's slick out there, and it's taking its toll. Tunis and Comiso back deep to receive the punt. A high snap. Gets his foot into it. It's heading towards the sideline. The wind is going to take it out of bounds. It's going to land over there by the percussionists of the Pilots marching band. And they're going to say that it actually crossed the sideline and went out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So that's where Hicksville will take over, 1st and 10. Greer puts a man in motion, hands it off, and he's going to be dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Tunis with the carry, but Peyton is going to be taken down at about the 31. So that'll be a loss of 3 to bring up 2nd and 13. I'm sure the Aces would like to add an insurance score of some kind here before halftime. Greer hanging on to the ball himself. Jake making his way forward. Gets across the 35 out to about the 37-yard line. He'll dry that ball off quickly and set it down right there on the 37-yard line. And we will get ready. Greer takes the snap. Greer laterals it out, caught by Tunis. Tunis turns on the Jets. Tunis first down. Out to the 45-yard line. That should move the chains for the Aces. So the Aces get a fresh set of downs as we near 2 minutes left to go here in the first half of this game. Pilots will get the ball to start the second half. Greer handing it to Aaron. Aaron hangs on to the ball this time, and he'll go forward for about 3 yards. So Aaron redeems himself and picks up a couple. Greer. And that one just off his hands. I think he wanted to lateral it to Tunis, and it just went astray as soon as he let it go. It goes into the turf. Minute 32 stops the clock. So that'll bring up 3rd and 8 for the Aces. Minute 32. 3 wide receivers out on the near side towards us, one on the far side of the field. Aaron beside Greer. Greer fakes the thing, fakes the lateral, hands it to Aaron, and Aaron gets the first down. That was a good fake. Greer took the snap and faked the lateral over to Tunis, which I think is what they were expecting, and quickly handed it off to Aaron, who charged forward down to the Pilots' 41-yard line. No huddle here as the Aces are in their 2-minute. Greer hangs on to the ball himself. He eludes one tackle. Greer breaks free. Jake still on his feet. And takes it down to the 14-yard line, where it'll be first down, a minute 13. The Aces, like I said, the Aces want to get another score, but they also don't want to leave the Pilots too much time. So Greer with a 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Takes a snap. Jake hangs onto the ball himself. Jake goes forward and picks up a couple. That'll bring up 2nd down and about 8. The Aces can get a first down by going into the 5-yard line or past the 5-yard line. And Hicksville's going to stop the clock and talk it over here. 52 seconds left. The Aces use their first timeout of the half. And when we get back in action again, they'll have the ball 2nd and 8 at about the 13-yard line. Looking to punch it in and hopefully go into the halftime locker room up 12, 13. Who knows? They go for 2, maybe even it back up at a 14-point lead. We'll see. Coach Smith has planned here. As the light rain continues to fall here, and it's on the cool side. Not even sure what the current temperature is.
About 40.
Do a quick check on the weather app
About
here.
40. About 40.
And my weather app says 38 degrees.
About 40.
And Amy on the camera said she could figure it was about 40 degrees. Back in action, Greer takes the high snap. Hands it off to Aaron. Aaron powering forward, and they finally blow the whistle. Aaron looks like he might have got a couple. And it looks like Nate Aaron's carry will take the ball down to about the 11-yard line, and another timeout for the Aces. So it'll be 3rd and 7 for Hicksville when we resume play once again, as they burn their 2nd timeout. It's kind of unusual, the Aces using timeouts here in the first half. They usually don't do it, or if they do, they usually only use one of their allotted 3. 38 seconds before halftime. Aces Pride Marching Band and the Pilots Marching Band both are here tonight to provide some halftime entertainment. Aces cheerleading squad here with their rain ponchos on, and gals from Ayersville also their rain gear. 38 seconds. We get ready to get back into action. Greer putting the ball in the air and incomplete. Fourth and 7. And here comes Victor Coate to attempt the field goal. Down. Kick is up, and I think it's going to be a little bit short and wide. Yep. Coate not able to make it. It looks like he might have had the distance, but he was wide to the right. And I think that they might have actually been engineering it that way so they would be able to give Victor a crack at the field goal. It's a good thing to have if you get ready to head into the playoffs, the ability to go for the 3 points. 33 seconds here. And the Pilots will get the ball back. Half a minute to work with, down by 6. McGuire working under center. Handoff up the middle. That's Freilich, and Freilich will get across the 25, or excuse me, across the 20, up to about the 23. Second down. As the clock continues to roll down to 15 seconds, so we'll see if the Pilots can get one more play off here before the time expires in this first half. 3 seconds I don't think they're going to do it. Nope. That's it. That's the end of the first half. The Pilots not able to get that last play off. Time expires, and we've reached halftime. And at halftime, our score here at Aces Field, it's Hicksville leading the Ayersville Pilots by a score of 6-0. Going to take a break again. We've got halftime entertainment on tap from the Ayersville Pilots and the Aces Pride Marching Band. And, of course, invite you to stay tuned. After that, I'll be back, and we'll have all the exciting second half play-by-play coming up for you right here on HIX-TV.